Hey guys, welcome back. So the last video got super long, so I just cut it off and I'm going to start right back up where we were at. So we kind of had this sign up page almost working. So we have some errors in it, and if we just run it, I believe it creates the user, but if we have an error, that is not working yet. So if we come back up, should have like console logged what happened there. Can run it again. We get an error like we expect. Let's handle the error case real quick. So errors, you need the first one, path username. So the value should be Tom. So for whatever reason, const username, const error field is equal to error.errors 0.path, and let's log and make sure we're getting the right error field. And then here I can say error field. If you're not familiar, putting the brackets around it like this gets the value of error field. So just rerun that. Unexpected token at 11. Oh, needs to be a semicolon. Okay. Refresh. Okay. Q. Actually, no. I want to get an error. So Q. All right. Undefined. Okay, so it's not actually errors. Give me the first value and then path. Errors, first value, then path. I would think it'd be working, but it's not. Let's see. Object dot keys. Just see, maybe I'm getting the wrong one. Console.log. Oh, it was throwing an error. I wonder if that was the problem. It might have been. I don't know if it was. So console.log. Now we can say error.errors, and let's just see what that equals. So refresh. We have a. All right. So our possible keys are right here. One of the key is errors, and when we click on errors, it returns this. Path username. Oh, here we go. Username. Okay, this looks like it's getting the wrong right thing. That looks actually right. Okay, cool. No more error. So we can get rid of that. Sagas. I just want to console log the response. Perfect. Either way, we should be getting an error back from the response. Oh, actions, sagas, API. Here we go. We need to say error false, response is equal to this await, and we should probably say constant response is equal to that. Okay. There we go. And now this error is equal to true. So this will be response. I'm not sure what I want to call this actually. About errors. get the first one. So the error is true, error field, response is equal to an object, and in that object there is an error. All right, this looks nice. So basically we were just passing back whether there was an error or not and telling them whether the response is an error response. And actually we want the response to be an empty object here. Okay. And the reason we want it to be empty is because we want it to, once you create a user, you don't really need to store it in the state or anything. We're just passing it back so there's not an error. Okay, A, B, cool. Now we get an error for that saying we have basically a duplicate one. So now if I go Tom, I get that Tom2 is okay. If I run that again, we get an error there. Should be getting an error though, because we shouldn't be able to have duplicate emails. Not sure what's going on there. Do I want to console log the email out? No, I think it's fine. I think for now what we can do is, if there's no error, we can say import actions from React native router Flux, and then we can just create a dummy page for now. This will be view auctions.js. Import React from React. Actually, you know what? We don't even need this page yet. Take you to the login page. So once you sign up, you can now say actions.login. So that'll take you to the login page, and we can move that up here. Okay, so basically we create a user, and we say if there's any errors, we return it back. If there's not any errors, we go to the login page, and you can then sign up with your user. Okay, so let's try this. Bob, Tom, and cool. Take us back here. So we successfully made a user called Bob. Now if I do Bob should throw an error. Cool, because we already have a user called Bob. Alright, tells us we already have an email called Bob. Alright, cool. So our login or sign up page is done. That's all good. So now let's create our login page. And funny enough, we can actually just pretty much copy this and call this login. Because the login is basically the same thing, except here we're going to request a login. Here we're going to call it, we don't need a username. We only need an email and password. And we call this login. And we call this request login. Request login. And here, what are we doing? We don't need a pass. There's a password, but there's no email. Or sorry, no username. Can just get rid of that. Here we can request login. Change that. Instead of sign up here, we can call this login. And at the bottom here, we can call this a login form. And this is login. So basically, we're just refactoring our login or sign up to calling it login. So now let's create the back end for that. So actions, this will be request, and this will be login, and this will be the same thing. And now we're also going to have a receive login. Receive login, request login. So request login, receive login. And now from our sagas here, we can copy that. We can export it. We can say call login. This will be a login saga. And then our imports here are going to be request login and receive login. So request login. When we get a login request, we're going to call login. We're going to start a submit for the login page. We're going to call login. We're going to wait for the response. And if it's good, we're going to go to view auctions. And so let's get the login page, view auctions, import React from React, import text from React Native, export default, and just view auctions. Just so we can see that we're on the auctions page, and you can create a scene here. View auctions. View auctions. View auctions. Perfect. Alright, so we're looking pretty good here. What we want to grab is actually do the login. So here we're going to have to get the REST app so we can do an authentication. So we need to export that. And this is in our root reducer. Come back to actions, not actions, API I mean. And we're just going to copy that. And we're doing pretty much the same thing. So sign up. It's now login. We're going to say app authenticate, passing in our payload, but we also need to say strategy is local. So we will just spread the payload and dump in our variables. And then return, and actually we do want to return stuff here. And we will return the response. And if there's an error, this is a fine thing to do. But we also want to, let's say this is successful, we want to save the access token in local storage, if you will. But local storage for React Native is different. So local storage, React Native. They use a different term for it. So, and actually if we come back over here, I think we can just delete this because we don't want to do storage through that way. Okay. And actually we're still working with the API. Yep, and we'll do this set item. So async storage. Import async storage. This is from React Native. And this async function will be save access token. Access token. Console.log. I'm not sure what would cause the error, so we're just going to have to console it if there ever is an error setting this. And we'll just have to say access token. And we pass in our access token there. Okay, so we save the item. Await save access token. Access token, which we get from response. Okay. This looks pretty good. We need to do some stuff over here though. Yeah, save token looks good, I think. Okay, so after we call login, if there's not an error, then we do this, else we do this. Now that we're actually returning stuff, we can't just pass in response. We need to pass in an empty object. So we need to stop. We also, though, need to receive login. Because now we basically have the user. So now we need to save him. So we're just going to save response.user. Pass that guy in there. Now if I come back here, I can go to Redux Actions, and we're going to create a reducer. So where is that handle action here? Handle action. Here we go. So I'm going to create a reducer. Sagas actions reducers.js. Import handle action from reducer, and this will be const user, and we're going to import some action, and the action we're going to be listening for is receive login. So we pass that here, and we can do stuff in this next area. So basically all we want to do is return action.action. Action.payload. That's actually just what we want to return. So all we're doing here is we're saving whenever we get the login and we authenticate. All we're doing is saving the user to the state. So what does that look like? We're getting the payload, we're saving it. Now we just need to add it to one of our reducers. So we say user, and then we can import user from user/reducers. Okay, so now we call our saga. Let's just walk through how this is going to work. We're first going to call request login when we submit our form. When we do, we call this saga, we start a submit, and then we call login. When we call login, what we're going to do is we're going to take the stuff from the form and we're going to try to authenticate, and from the response we should get a access token. We're going to save that to basically persistent storage on the device. Then we're going to return the response, which will be the user and the access token. And actually, I don't know if it actually returns the user. It actually does not return the user right now that I think of it. When we programmed the server, it was not saving the user or passing the user back. But we want to do that, so let's add that real quick. But I'll just continue walking through this, but we're supposed to. Pretend for now it does. And if there's an error, we return the error that we're getting. Then come back to our sagas. When we get a response back, if it was successful, if it's not successful, we stop the login and we basically tell our form what's wrong and they can resubmit. If it is right, we're going to basically save the user in our state so that we can get them later. And then we stop the login process because we're good. And then we go to the next page. Okay, cool. Well, let's fix our server though. So if I just open this up, if I come over here to authentication, I can create a little function here, hook, and we can say hook dot data is equal to hook dot data, or not data, params dot user. And then we return hook. I think that's actually all we need to do. I'm going to launch Postman and we can make a request and see if that's working as we expect. What should happen is when we authenticate with the user, we should see like the username, the email, that stuff. So let's start the server. So I'm going to come here, authentication, sign up with this username. Oh, it's not up yet. See how it just shows the access token? We want more than that. Oh, this is all. We should be doing this after. Yeah, we should be doing this after, not before. There we go. Okie dokie. Restart that. Make sure there's no errors. There's not. Okay, that still didn't work. That should have, I guess the user's not in the params. I'll just look it up in their documentation. They have in their documentation how to add it. I thought that's how they did it, but I forgot. So let's double check. Get started in their docs. And I believe they just have it under their authentication. Customizing the response. Wow, this is taking a long time to load. We don't need this stuff anymore. Let's keep that one just in case. Good with that. Good with that. All right. Okay. Guides, authentication, customize login response, and this is what we want to do. Oh, result.user. Huh. Not data, result.user. There we go. I forgot the after hook is user. So when you're using the before hook, usually you change hook.data, and the after you do hook.result, and you add stuff. Okay, set property user of undefined. Result. Let's see if that does anything. Okay, that did nothing. So this is obviously not correct. Let's just see how we did the after hook, one of our other hooks. This is a before hook, this is a before hook. I think this one's after. Hook.data, hook.data, hook.data. Oh, all of them are after, I guess, or before hooks. So usually when this happens, what I like to do is just do a console log of hook.result and see what it's returning to see if it's a valid, or like you should see some data in it, and we should see we can see what it is. And notice, okay, it's returning undefined, so hook result is not the right thing here. So object.keys, we can see what, I want to say maybe data values .user is what it might be, but let's see. Okay, still no. Okay, so data, okay, so it is data. Oh, you know what? It's probably data values. Try that. And print hook.data. And we can stay there. Okay, run that. Still no. Strategy, local email. We should not be seeing. Ah, ha ha ha. Forgot to put the word after. That's what we did wrong. Now I'm guessing it should be like the example. I was going to say, it's weird that their example didn't work. Okay, there we go. This is what we expect the user back. My bad. Okay, so now we can come back to our client application. Sorry, just switch to the server to do something to fix that. So now we want to just run the application and see what happens when we log in. And before we actually do, we need to come here to our route. We can delete the login page, and we need to make login the initial. And the first one is automatically the initial one. And let's see, it looks like we have an error. Unable to resolve reducer from, okay. Reducer. / user reducer. Where is this coming from? Users, reducers. Oh, okay. Redux actions. Default state for reducer handling receive login. Oh, okay. So we need to pass the default state, which is an empty object. Alright, so now we can sign up with a nothing happened. I wonder if it just, I think maybe it's too short. Nope, nothing. I'm thinking we're getting an error. And I know we don't have our saga set up. So notice that we have two sagas. So this is something I like to do. Notice we have two sagas, sign up saga and login saga. Now what we could do, something like this, login saga. But notice how this is just an array, and they called fork on it. So another thing that we could do is we could say import star from, so this will be user sagas, import as user sagas. So now we have sign up saga and login saga. And what we can do is we can say object dot, I believe it's keys, user sagas. And that'll give us all. So basically what I want to do is I want to map fork onto the sagas. And I actually think it's object.values. Let's double check. Object values. I want to get all the sagas in basically a list. Yep, values. Oops. Values. And now we can map fork. So what that's doing is it's calling fork on all the values of user sagas, which we get from our sagas here. So it's creating a list of the sagas that we have in our sagas, and then it's calling fork on all of them. Okay, uncaught at root. Interesting, what's going on there? Sign up has been canceled. Okay. Not sure what's causing that. Could be our fancy syntax here. I'm just going to remove that really quick and make sure that's not what's causing the error. I've done this before, but I guess I could be doing it wrong. Okay, yeah, it's not my fancy syntax. You can go back to our fancy syntax. There we go. Now I can come over here to reduce. Or I think it has a problem with the API, but let's stay here first. Alright. Call login. So to test where we're getting this error, let's see if it's before the call. Okay. Alright, I'm not seeing call login. Wait, here it is. So it's getting there. So it's going to be our actual login. So I'm guessing after authenticate is not working. Console.log error uncaught. Console.log error. Oh, you know what? I bet there's not any errors. So if there's an error, basically it's an incorrect login. So we'll just say password incorrect login. We don't have to worry about this. We can say error. There we are. I think that's what was causing it, is there was no error. Because this is a different kind of response from the server. Okay, so now we're just getting an incorrect login. That's good. Sagas, call login. Alright, now let's do a correct login. So Bob, and I actually forgot all the correct logins. Yep, a Bob is not a thing. Is it Bob 2 maybe? No. I actually forgot all the logins that I created, so let's actually just go through the whole process. So I'm going to create, or make a sign up initial. So now I can create a username. Let's just do gym all the way down. Can sign up, create a gym user, gym, and it's not correct. Interesting. I just did that, so it should be right. So what we're going to do is just console.log this error. Let's see what error we're getting. And we no longer need to go to sign up, so let's get rid of initial. Okay. So gym, and what is the error we're getting? Can't find variable app. This should be REST app. There we go. So gym, and awesome, we're able to log in successfully. And we can see our stuff here. Alright, so we have the sign up page and the login page done finally. What we're going to work on next is getting some auctions to show up, creating auctions, that sort of thing. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.